In this video, I want to talk about IES light setup in Blender. So recently completed this project here, and as you can see, there's a lot of artificial lights in the scene, and these lights in particular are IES lights. So an IES light, for those who don't know, is a 3D file provided by a lighting provider which gives you the shape of the light, the strength, and sometimes its color. So in software like V-Ray or Corona, you specifically have an IES light that you plug that information into. In Blender, the setup isn't that simple. So what you would do in Blender to set up an IES light is you would first create a light, a point light, right? So create a point light in the scene. I'll just turn off my rendering just to make things a little bit faster. And I will say G, and I will move this light up here. So I move it into position where I want. So the way to work with an IES light is to place it against the surface. So once you place it against the surface, then you start to see the shape that the light casts in the scene. You can't just have it floating out in space. So I'm just trying to position it so it's near a wall or something. So I've got a few here. So what you do is I'll just use what I've done, but I'll set this up for you first. So what you do is you position it, just bear with me, so that's kind of close to this wall, right? So you got your IES light here. So what you do is you go into, from this right hand workspace, you go into the lighting tab, and so an IES light comes in with the power of the light and the size of the light. Now in Blender, the problem is if you turn the power off, the light goes off completely, so it won't show anything. So what you would do is you would set it down to a very low power. So what you do when you start, you've set it down to a very low power. So it's gone from 10 watts to 100 milliwatts, and then you hit this use nodes button, and then you go into the shading menu, and you end up with this setup here, right? So you end up with an emission node and a light output node. To set up an IES light, what you would do is you would first load up an IES texture. So if I come into here, I've searched for it before, so it comes up. So what you would do is you'd plug this into the color and this into that, right? And then what you would do is, it's currently set to internal, so I'm guessing Blender probably has some kinds of internal lights that you can use, but the thing is I usually use commercial lights like Urco, or there's a host of others that you just need to do a Google search to find IES light textures. So I've set mine to external, and if I look for the file texture, I've got some IES lights in here. So I'll just grab, let me just have a look at my list. I'll just grab this one, for example, and I'll set it up here. And then what you can do now, once you've got it, is you set the power down, set the radius to 0, because the IES light is going to determine the shape, so you don't want to have Blender setting up a radius for the light. So if I turn on rendering, it's going to take a bit of time because we've got a lot of things in the scene and I'm recording. And as you can see, this light's starting to cast a shape. So with these ones, I've got the shape pointing upwards, if you can see. So in this one, the shape's pointing downwards. So what I could do is I could hit R and turn it. So now this is also, just to illustrate the point, There you go. Okay, so we'll set it up like that, so it's going at an angle. So the IES light's basically working, right? So we've set the power down, so the shape's being determined by Blender. Now if I want to increase the intensity of this light, so usually you don't need to increase the intensity because IES lights come in with the preset intensity, but for artistic purposes, if you need to do that, I would do it in the IES texture. So I could set this up to say 10, right, and it becomes a lot brighter, as you can see. Now the only issue here is the color of this IES light from the manufacturer has a temperature of 3000 Kelvin, right? That's what it's been built at. So that particular light, so if you wanted to show a particular light at a particular temperature, this isn't going to work because this is just giving you a straight white light. So how would you go about working that aspect? So what you would do is you would use the black body shader, a black body texture in Blender. So you hit Shift A, you go to search, I'm going to look for black body. I've got the black body here. So now the issue is, how do I get these two textures into the emission while maintaining the IES texture's integrity and integrating what the black body is going to do? So what I would do is I'd first set the temperature of the black body. So say I've set it to 3000 here, and then I would use a mix node. So you come into here, you search for a mix node, and before I set up the mix node, I'm going to set this to color. There we go. So what you do is you plug the black body into the B input, you plug the IES texture into the A input, you set the mode to color, and now that's giving me this IES light at a temperature of 3000 Kelvin. I mean, you can obviously, this is a bit, in the scene, this is a little bit unharmonious because it's too saturated. You can obviously turn that down. So what you would do to reduce the saturation in the black body is you would up the Kelvin, right? And at 4500 it kind of matches the other two, right? So this is how you set up an IES light correctly with the correct temperature in Blender.